Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
A of IPC is to be taken as Section 85 and 86 of BNS, and Section 494 of IPC is to be taken as Section 82 of BNS.
Hello everyone, this is Professor Shivani Goswami. I am teaching in IP University. I am taking certain lectures on Hindu law and I have already taken 9 lectures. Today is my 10th lecture and I will be dealing with certain emerging issues as far as family law is concerned. We will just have a recapitulate as to what we did in our 9th lecture and then we will proceed further as far as this 10th lecture is concerned. We talked about certain things. I talked about the succession to the property of a Hindu female, and then we also discussed about the domestic violence, and I talked about that how violence and women, they are interconnected. They are two sides of the same coin which are inseparable, which are inalienable, and there are a number of causal factors. It could be your male dictated society, it could be your stress that you're committing domestic violence, it could be fiscal dependence or independence of the women when you are suffering from, if it's a case of independence, then you're suffering from inferiority complex, and then you find out ways to lash out your partners, to thrash your partner, and then it could be dowry related issues. It could be that you have witnessed such type of things when you were a child, when your father was beating your mom, your father was beating your mother, and as a result of which this was ingrained in you, and you could either turn out to be a very aggressive person, or it could be the converse case also, where you are subdued, where you become meek, where you are totally isolated from the society and you would keep yourself aloof from the society. In order to curb this, because we have various women comrade legislations in order to perk up the position of women, it was the Domestic Violence Act which was passed, and this act is totally women's centric, it is totally women charm, and all the provisions, if we see it, they are totally in favor of men, and as a result they are totally anti-men. You talk about the various kind of abuses that are mentioned. There are 5 abuses that are there under this thing, all in favor of women. Then it talked about that even an outsider can make a complaint and he's not liable if he has done this thing in good faith. There are so many duties of protection officers, service providers are also there. They are there to help women. They are there to make a domestic incident report, and then they could also help the women as far as her medical thing is concerned, because it might be possible that when she is injured, you need to take her to the doctor. So she is totally devastated at that time, totally unaware of what to do, what not to do. So these persons are there to help her out, to provide her remedies, to provide her redressals. They can also tell her about the various orders that are there under the Act. It could be protection order, it could be custody order, it could be compensation order, it could be residence order. She has a right to a right of shared household in this thing. So that means a woman cannot be chucked out from the house. And there's so many cases when the husband is thrashing his wife, after that she doesn't have any place to go. And the Act says that she need to continue to stay, even if the proceedings are going on between the couple in the court, the women should not be chucked out and she should continue to remain in the house there only. So because we do not have that much, though it also provides for shelter homes, but if you see the condition of shelter homes, that is more or less like a prison. We do not have that much amenities, we do not have that much facilities in those shelter homes, and the security is pathetic, so on and so forth. And moreover, they are very less in number. So the woman can continue to stay in this place only, and if she wants, or if she could take another residence also, and the expenses of that would be borne by the husband. She could take it on the rent also. Then even in the household, you know, she has those, the protection order can be passed in her favor, and the husband or his family could be prevented from entering the place where she is residing, and then there could be that the court might order that this women should be protected at all costs, and you're not allowed to, you might not be allowed to call her up. If there is a danger, you could be prohibited. The assets of that could be again sealed, and you are not allowed to use that thing. You are not allowed to talk to her relatives, so on and so forth. So that's just a protection order. It also talks about the custody order, and visitation rights could be given, but if it's danger for a child, then this could be stopped, those visitation rights. Then compensation is there, all medical expenses, all mental trauma that she had been going through, so you are allowed to pay compensation for all those stuff. Then it's the metropolitan magistrate or judicial magistrate of first class who has got the power to try these kind of cases. If you make a breach of protection order, then you could be penalized also. Imprisonment is also provided under the Act. The offence is non-bailable. So you can very well envision that, you know, complaint by a woman, if it's a non-bailable, you will not even get that bail. And so we used to have an example, I also talked about 498A, we used to have example how women used to torture, and it might happen that the woman is spiteful, and on one complaint even the parents of the husband used to go. Although now this is not there, things have changed now, but earlier it used to happen under section 498A of the Indian Penal Code. So it was totally one-sided, and men have, the people that is the men totally stated that this act, and they said that on every year on 26th October they will be going to Jantar Mantar and they will be observing Barsi of this act, because all even, you know, in this live-in relationships are also included, and all kinds of women are included who could take protection of the said act. Then I talked about how the men were also talking about that, how it is anti-men. So whenever the laws are made, it is felt that they should be gender neutral, because if it is inclined towards one gender, then obviously you are trying to perk up the position of that gender. But the thing is, it could be misused. There are cases which have been endorsed by the judiciary and the criminal justice administration that it could be misused by these handful of spiteful people. They could take vengeance, they could take revenge, and whether the story is true or it's not true, nobody knows about it. So this thing can be done. So the need of the hour is to protect both the spouses, both genders, and one should not make gender biased laws. It should be gender neutral, so that nobody is able to misuse the provisions that are being enacted for the betterment of that gender. We also talked about the open marriage. It's a very, very new concept, and it's not that much prevailing in India because we are not that much advanced. We are still a traditional society, a gullible society. So in this you have a primary relationship, and apart from this primary relationship, you also have a secondary relationship. So that means we have monogamy. We have already talked so many times under Hindu Marriage Act, but side by side we do say that variety is the spice of life, and so you have secondary partners. It could be you have emotional satisfaction, you have sexual satisfaction, so on and so forth. So, but it has its pros and cons, which we had discussed in our previous lecture. In this particular lecture, I will be talking about certain areas which normally, if you're studying Hindu law, you're studying family law, which normally we do not take up, but they are very much a part of this family law. They talk about certain, for example, if it's a case of homosexuality, in the syllabus we do not find it. Then if you have a live-in relationship, it could surrogacy. So all these concepts I would be talking now in this lecture. And to begin with, when we talk about homosexuality, the word, if you break this, homosexuality, homo means same, homosexuality, and sexual means which is related to sex. So that means it is basically same sex. So in this, the people are attracted, they are attracted towards people who are of the same sex. So normally we get attracted towards a person of opposite sex, but in the case of homosexuality, people get attracted towards the people who belong to same sex. So that means in the case of a boy, if a boy is attracted towards a boy, we call it as gays. And if a female is attracted towards a female, then we usually call it as lesbian. lesbians. So now, if we talk about this thing, the word homosexuality, this concept of homosexuality is not something that is new. It used to happen earlier also. There were punishments also that way, because it was not taken in good spirits, and it was felt that why this thing is there, it's not normal. Why are you getting attracted towards a person of a same sex? Normal, we consider it as that the person is attracted towards opposite sex. But earlier, even today also, although so many things have been passed and people are there, and section 377, which has now been decriminalized by Navtej Singh Johor's case, people, it's not taken that much in good spirit, because still people have this feeling. I'm talking about society in general. I'm not talking about few people in the society. So we just feel that there's something is wrong. Why is he getting attracted towards a person of a same sex? It's not normal. But in fact, it is normal, because it's a sexual orientation of a person. It is not that something which is inculcated. It is inborn. It is innate. And to say that why is he doing so, and people, they are just scorn and scoff at those persons, that is not called for. So earlier also this was there, and if there was a case where a woman, she was a married woman, and she was attracted, and she had a relationship with an unmarried woman, and people used to, during that time, what they used to do was they used to shave off your hair, or they used to chop off your fingers, and this is chopping and everything was done. So it was not taken in good spirits. Even in IPC, this section 377, it was there, and this consensual unnatural intercourse, it was mounted that it was criminalized. So it was not taken in good spirits. It was something for which the punishment was there, and if a person got attracted or he had a relationship with a person of same sex, the punishment was there. Now, if we talk about, there are arguments, there are pros and cons, in the sense that there are people who say that, who are for this thing, and there are people who are against this thing. Now, when we talk about this thing, for example, people say that if we will encourage homosexuality, so that means we will be encouraging these kind of relationships where men would be attracted towards men, and where female would be attracted towards a female. So that means you are in a way undermining the concept of marriage. Now, all of us know that marriage plays a very important role, and in a layman's language, we say that marriage is something which allows sexual intercourse, which makes sexual intercourse legal, and it is there for procreation of children. So it is said that if we will encourage, if this homosexuality is encouraged, then marriage will take a back seat. So that if you are a homo, obviously you cannot procreate children. And one of the purposes of marriage is procreation of children. So if you are encouraging these kind of relationship, this thing, you are giving marriage a back seat. The marriage is something that we really respect, we really revere, we cherish this thing, and we consider it as a sacramental part. So majority is that it's bended towards the sacramental part. Now it is that it has the combination of both the sacrament as well as contractual part, but its inclination is, as far as the Hindus are concerned, its inclination is more towards the sacramental part. So if you are encouraging these kind of relationship, in a way you are giving a back seat to the marriage, an institution which we brag of, which we conceit of. Then people do say, even Ramdev ji, I mean, he's such a popular person who teaches yoga, he used to say that this is a disease, it should be cured. Though it's not a disease, it has been removed from World Health WHO list, and he used to say this thing. Then it says that procreation is very important. If a homosexual is there, if we allow homosexuality, then procreation would come to an end. Then people do say that these are the persons, because it was criminalized, these peoples are the one who transmit sexual diseases, and they are the ones who do not go to the doctors, because this is the thing that is not I'll say that in a society we do not take it in a positive sense. So they are the ones who were not getting themselves treated. So it was a way to spread this sexually transmitted diseases. Then because it was criminalized, police used to harass these people, and these were the ones, so they just became the target of these people, and as a result of which they were tortured, they were tormented, money was extracted from them. So this should not be there. Then it is also stated, so many people have said that if we allow homosexuality, then one day your son is going to bring a son in the family, or your daughter is going to bring a daughter in the family. So see, you can see the repercussions, how it would look, that in spite of when we get married, if it's a boy, he brings a girl. This is a normal trend which is being followed. Or if it's a girl, she brings a boy, and a boy brings a girl. So this is what we are used to. But if it is allowed openly, then your son is going to bring another man in the family, or your daughter is going to bring another female in the family. So how it would look? People had stated that in any case, in the beginning, so many teething problems are there, but they do settle because we are not used to of such stuff. But with time, as the society progressed, you need to change. You need to accept what is being going on, and now it is not that the person is inculcating. I've already stated, it is something that is coming from within. It's innate. When you grow up, you have sexual orientation towards your opposite sex. So that is what is happening with them. They are not developing it. They are not inculcating it. It is coming to them naturally only. And they have got a right to choose what partner they want to choose, to whom they could be happy with, to whom they can live peacefully. So these arguments for and against this thing are always happening. If we talk about marriage and homosexuality, obviously in our country, as far as India is concerned, I have already stated that we have, marriage is an institution. It's an old age institution. It's not a new institution. We have always stated that you need to be the husband and wife, where so much importance is given to the couple. With marriage, all your legal rights come. With marriage, you are conferred status of husband and wife. With marriage, you have got so many legal rights. With marriage, the status of legitimacy is conferred on the children of the couple, so on and so forth. So that's an institution which we have always worshipped, which we have always respected as far as the Indian society is concerned. When you talk about the Hindu Marriage Act, because why I am talking about Hindu Marriage Act here is because Hindu Marriage Act 1955, it talks about marriage and divorce, and it talks about those kinds of marriage, when we have talked about the essentials of the valid marriage, nowhere are we finding these terms of homosexuality. Nothing. If you see Hindu Marriage Act, in none of the places, in none of the sections, the word homosexuality is laid down. It is always marriage between a couple, a husband and a wife. It's always written in, if your legal act is saying this so when you talk about this homosexuality, so that means these legal rights in a way are not available to the same sex couple. We have always talked about so many things. We talked about valid marriage, we talked about void marriage, we talked about annulled voidable marriage. In all these cases, nowhere did we find that the act is using homosexuality anywhere. So that means homosexuality is not covered under the Hindu Marriage Act. It is nowhere it could be found. This word we do not find anywhere under the Hindu Marriage Act. But when we talked about homosexuality under section 377, this unnatural carnal intercourse had been laid down, I will say, and it was there in IPC, and it used to provide punishment also if people indulged in unnatural sex. So the punishment could be imprisonment of life, it could be extendable, 10 years of imprisonment, and fine was also imposed. Now relating to this, there had been a number of decisions, and it's a very, I'll say, a burning burning issue, because recently only the Supreme Court also came up with something on same-sex marriage. Right from the NAS Foundation's case, we are very much aware that Delhi High Court decriminalized Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code. NAS Foundation is an NGO, and the case came up before the Delhi High Court, and Delhi High Court decriminalized and said that it is violative of Article 14, 15, 21 and so on. So that it decriminalized this thing, and this decision of the Delhi High Court, it brought, I think it was in the year 2009, people were so, these LGBTQ community, they were so elated, they were so ebullient, they were so happy by this decision, because after a long struggle, something went in their favor. Now we can very well imagine, if you see the scenario of this LGBTQ community, they are the ones who have been, right from day one, these people have been scorned and scoffed at. People make fun of, we are not, though now many rights are being given to them for the transgenders, an act has also come, but the thing is, if you see the reality, I'm not talking about the legal provisions, although much needs to be done now, because there are so many things to which they are not getting their rights. But if you see the society, because they have to live in society, they have to work with the people, they have to be there with the society, but the society is till date not that much ready to accept these people. We always make so much fun of them. If we come to know that this person is a gay, we'll say, he's a gay, that she's lesbian. So we do see. So that means we are not treating them as normal human being as we see it in another sense, to the normal people. So we are still making fun of them. They are the ones who are being, everywhere they are being tormented, not only by the society, by the people, they are not having that much jobs. They are the ones we do see, if you see those transgenders, although I'm talking about LGBTQ here, they are begging on the roads. We do see them, see their lifestyle. Then even for these homosexuals, the boy with the boy or a girl with a girl. So we do not see them. If we come to know that this person is a gay or lesbian, we start looking them at from different point of angle. So you can very well envision and imagine how elated they would have been when the decision went in their favor, and the Delhi High Court decriminalized Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code. And because of this section, police used to torment, they used to pester, they used to harass them like anything. So that was a tool that the police had, and now with the decriminalization, this thing would have stopped. And so they were very much in a joyous manner. But after that, another case came, Suresh Kumar Kaushal and others. Suresh Kumar was an astrologer, and what happened was, these people who were astrologer, who were from other religious communities, it did not go well with these people, and they felt that by decriminalizing this Section 377 by Delhi High Court, the decision has gone in their favor, and now these kinds of cases, homosexuality would rise, it will soar, it will mount up like anything, it will swell up like anything. So as a result of which, there were so many petitions, religious communities and all, and Suresh Kumar Kaushal, an astrologer, they went in appeal to the Supreme Court. As a result of which, the Supreme Court overruled what was laid down by Delhi High Court. So that means again it led to the criminalization of Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code, and which was a very tool, a weapon to harass them, especially by the police. And because it was criminalized, so just on the basis of that only, they used to harass them and used to extract money from them. There were a number of cases relating to it. Then, it was again felt now after when the decision came up, and the Supreme Court had laid down as far as this came, because it overruled Delhi High Court decision, and so again that means it led to the criminalization of this particular section. Now Shashi Tharoor, during that time he introduced, Mr. Shashi Tharoor introduced a private bill, but that didn't go, it was not accepted and it was rejected, it was not passed in the House, and then again he had introduced this thing. There were so many people who were against against the decision and they did not like the decision of the Supreme Court. It could be the present Chief Minister of Delhi, whether it's Arvind Kejriwal, P. Chidambaram from Congress. So they did not like that thing, the decision that came up from the Supreme Court. Then, after that, presently,
States in John's case, it again decriminalized homosexuality.
in that particular case, the earlier case, talk about this homosexuality. I had already stated that it is not a new concept. This homosexuality is legal in so many developed countries. You talk about this thing, whether it is United States of America, whether it is United Kingdom, whether it is Canada, whether it is France, whether it is Brazil, whether it is Australia, in all those Finland, all those countries, this is homosexuality has been made legal. But when we talk about the countries which have recognized, you talk about those Muslim countries, whether it is Iran, it is Pakistan, it is Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, and so these countries, this has still not been legalized. So, as far as this homosexuality is concerned, it's basically something, and recently only, the Supreme Court regarding same-sex, I'm talking about India here, Supreme Court of India had laid, in case of same-sex marriage, they had laid down that as far as same-sex marriage is concerned, it is for the Parliament to come up with the law. Marriage, you cannot consider it as a fundamental, to marry is not a fundamental right. The Parliament has to make up the law, so till the Parliament makes up the law, they cannot say anything, and they did not recognize that same-sex marriage as far as India is concerned. So that was with regard to homosexuality, but I think one should ponder over this thing. These are the persons, like we have normal relationship for them. This is normal. It's not that they are developing. It's not that they are inculcating it from somewhere. It is coming from them, from within only. It is coming innate only. Like a normal person, we consider that normal person who has a sexual attraction towards an opposite sex. So this is also normal for them. Their attraction is towards a person of opposite sex. It is not. This we need to understand. Only then we can realize that the torment, the torture that we are committed on them is not called for. It causes a lot of mental agony. It causes a lot of pain. It could be physical. It could be mental, so on and so forth. Next, I would be talking on surrogacy. Surrogacy is another very coming up in the sense it has come up, but it's a topic of recent origin only. In the sense that when we talk about surrogacy means, when a woman rents her womb, rents in her womb. Why I'm using this word is because here those couple those people who do not have their own children and they want their own children, they go for surrogacy. So a surrogate woman is considered to be a substitute mother. Now she is substituting because the normal, the intending couple, they are unable to conceive and they want their child genetically, so they go for this surrogacy. Even apart from this, there could be other reasons also nowadays. It could be because the women, she's suffering from some disease. It could be high blood pressure. It could be any other disease, as a result of which she is unable to conceive a child. It could be these days women are very conscious about their career. They are very ambitious. They are very pushy. They want to achieve something in life, and as a result of which they do not have time to conceive a child. So as a result of which even these couple, they go for surrogacy. Then it could be, sometimes you are suffering from genetic diseases and you do not want to transfer these genetic diseases to your child. So as a result of which you go, because we say that most of the diseases are genetic. So you do not want to transfer those genes to those children who are born to you. So you go for surrogacy. As far as surrogacy is concerned, it could be traditional, it could be gestational. A traditional surrogacy is when the eggs of the surrogate are fertilized and with the intended father's donor. And in gestational, the surrogate is impregnating using the eggs of the intended mother, which is fertilized by the sperm of the intended father. So then apart from this, we have altruistic and commercial surrogacy also. altruistic basically is when you do not have to pay any money in order to get a child, but these days it is being commercialized also, and that commercial surrogacy is basically when you are getting a child by paying a woman an amount for bearing your child. So that means she is renting a womb, you are in a way purchasing a child. The child is being born and you are then giving that money to the surrogate mother for keeping your child in her womb. So that's basically is when she has rented her womb and you are giving money for this thing. So this commercial surrogacy again is one thing which is not liked, which is not taken in good spirit, and it has been, as far as India is concerned, under your Surrogacy Regulation Act of 2021, it has been barred. It has been, so you're not allowed to go this thing. If we talk about the causes of surrogacy, it could be, escalation of, a lot of barrenness is there. A person is unable to conceive a child. Then it could be adoption has taken a back seat. You want your own child. You want your genetic child. You want your genes to be in your child. Then, so you do not go for adoption, because in adoption, you are taking a child of another person. We had talked about Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act in length, 1956. And I had talked about as to what was adoption. So people do not want to go for adoption because they want their own child to be born. There are so many now, technology has become so advanced. We have IVF, IUI, we have so many things, and so people go for that thing. Then apart from this, age factor is another factor. For example, these days people get married late, and as a result of which you are unable to bear a child. You are unable to conceive a child as compared to a young couple. So as a result of which you go for surrogacy. Then in the case of homosexuals, they are unable to bear a child. They are also going for the surrogacy in order to get their own child. Then medical problems could be there. Women could be, I have already told, she could be ambitious, she could be pushy. She doesn't have that much time, or she might feel that it's going to hinder my career prospects future. So she might not go for this thing, and they go for surrogacy. Then there are so many issues concerning this. People have said that a lot of ethical issues are there, a lot of jurisdictional issues are there. Baby Manji's case is a living example of the jurisdiction thing. Ethical issue in the sense, it says that the woman who is poor, there's so many cases when you are making poor a surrogate. The poor wants money. So when you are giving her money and she is bearing your child, so you are exploiting that poor woman. She is made to undergo so many injections. There are so many, when you are pregnant, there are so many hormonal changes in you. There are a lot of injections that are being put into you, but she wants money. She wants money for, so you are exploiting a poor woman for that thing which people say. Then it is usually felt that it is commoditization of children. You are commercializing it. How can a baby be purchased? It is something everybody wants to have his or her children. But here you want to have a child, but you are purchasing it. You are giving money to that surrogate because she wants that money, and you want a child. So when the child is born, you take away the child and you give money to that woman. So how is it done? Then they say that it is demeaning the meaning of marriage. Marriage is when you it confers status of legitimacy. It is for procreation of children. You do marriage for this purpose. It's legalizing sexual intercourse and procreating children. So, but this is not the case in such cases. Here you are making another woman pregnant, and she is bearing your child, and then you are taking that child for money. Then there are so many cases where designer babies are in vogue. You just deciding how his eyes would be, how his nose would be, and all those stuff. So this is not called for. Then another thing is gender biasness. You want a son. People are hankering for a son. So they just go for this thing and they just decide the sex of the child. Then the mother. It says that it is again demeaning the motherliness. Now the relationship between a woman and a child, it starts from the womb of the mother. The mother, the relationship is such that she could even recognize her child. It is usually felt through the fragrance of the child. So when this is there, when another woman is bearing a child, how it would look and how you are just demeaning that thing. Then if a child born is deformed child, he is a handicapped child, people have refused to take that child. Are we taking something, purchasing a good, that if the good is defective, we will not take that thing? This person is a living, the child that is born is a living person. So you are just demeaning everything. So these are the things that are there are so many things that are being cropping up. Then it could also be that the surrogate mother becomes attached to child, and after keeping the child in her womb for 9 months, she has to give away the child. It has lot of emotion. She becomes emotionally attached, and when you are giving that child, you might suffer because of that thing. You have become attached to the child, and even if the child has gone to another family, you might interfere in their life because you want to see the child, you want to keep the child with you, you want to meet that child. So these issues cannot be ignored as far as the surrogacy is concerned. Surrogacy in India, Gujarat is a place, Anand is a place where it used to happen like anything, and there are hostels, there are places where the women are being kept. People from foreign, they used to come because India was considered to be a hub of this surrogacy, because here women are considered to be teetotaler. Their cost of this thing is very cheap as compared to the foreign countries. We do not, that's not so expensive, and nor they do not have to pay that exorbitant fee amount. So people used to come to India, and Gujarat was a place. We have hostels there. Women are kept for 9 months, and they are kept away from the family. I think in a week they are allowed to meet only once to their family, and so this is there. Recently we talked Surrogacy Regulation Act 2021 is there. As far as the act is concerned, it basically says these clinics need to be registered. They have to be registered, and it could be done only in registered clinics, and the registration needs to be renewed. It also states that it talks about the intending couple age. It states that the mother, as far as the mother is concerned, her age should be between 25 to 50 years. And as far as the intending father is concerned, his age should be from 26 to 55 years. The woman who has to become surrogate, her age is also defined, and it is said that she should be from 35 to 45 years of age, and the couple can go for this thing only once. They cannot go it if they have an adopted child. They cannot go it if they have already gone through surrogacy earlier and they have a surrogate child. Then it also talks about that certificate of essentiality should be given. Then people who are commercial surrogacy have been totally banned, because it is always felt that these type of surrogacy, you are exploiting a poor woman. You are the woman because she is lured for that money, and you are just purchasing that thing. So that is not allowed. It is totally prohibited, and penalty is also provided. Even punishment is also provided with the fine if you go for commercial surrogacy. So that means now it is only altruistic surrogacy which is allowed, where you don't have to pay money for taking a child, and commercial surrogacy has been done away with. Although it has been done away with, but the question here is that we have a lot of poverty in our country. There is a lot of impoverishment. Now, do you think that the business, which was just the people were rolling in money in this business, will they stop this thing? There are so many methods. They could devise new methods in order to get this commercial surrogacy done. How can this be when it's such a luring business, when you can be rolling in money, you are minting money like anything? How can immediately this thing be stopped? That commercial surrogacy is no more allowed. So they will devise mean, and they could do it. As far as homosexuals and all those are concerned, it's not allowed to them. But there are questions on this also, that why it is not allowed to them. They also want to have their own children, and nowhere the argument that was given was that the couple should be of opposite sex. That means a female and a man should be there. Two men, if they are going through surrogacy and they are having a child, they are not in a better position, they are not in a good position to take proper care of the child. But I think this doesn't have any stance. Anybody can take, this is very subjective also, anybody can take proper care of a child. So it's not necessarily that there has to be a female in order to take proper care of the child. So these arguments were there, but nonetheless this 2021 this thing is there, and Next, I will come to live-in relationship. That's another concept which is very much there in our society, and although not that much legally recognized, all the people are coming under, we say that Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005, it also covers live-in women, but we do not have a specific act, as far as live-in couples are concerned. When we talk about this live-in relationship, we also see together marriage, because India as a society, I have said it incessant number of times, innumerable times, uncountable times, that we are the ones who really respect this institution of marriage. It's always said, only through the marriage that a person becomes complete. It is only through the marriage that men are being born to be fathers and women are being born to be mothers. And we say that marriage is legalizing of sexual intercourse and procreation of children. Conversely, when you talk about live-in relationship, we could not envision, we could not envisage in our traditional and gullible society that one day would come when the unmarried couple, the boy and the girl, they would be living together without undergoing the ceremonies of marriage. At least in India, where we have this traditional kind of a society, we could not imagine. But this is very much in vogue as far as India is concerned. There are so many. If you talk about metropolis, if you talk about these cosmopolitan and metropolitan cities, live-in relationships are very much in vogue. So that means people, without getting married, they are staying together as husband and wife. So there's no ceremony of marriage, nothing of that sort, but they are staying together. Now, when we talk about the reasons, it could be number one. Now, they are obviously, it's a case of I'll not say love marriage. There is no marriage in this case. The love between the persons, and they feel that their love, it does not require any paperwork. It does not require any formality. It does not require, because then if you go for marriage, you need to spend lavishly. So you don't want to waste money. So you are together. You want to be together. You want to stay together. So and it can be done without getting married. This is what they feel. Then they also say that they are also testing compatibility, whether they are compatible with each other or not. These days we see that after getting married, hardly 1 year, hardly 2 years, people are not able to adjust with each other and they are going for divorce. So they feel that what is the fun of spending so much lavishly on marriage and then you are separating, you are parting ways. So that's it doesn't make any sense. So they feel that you are testing your compatibility, whether you are able to live together and you are not able to live together. They also say that sometimes there are societal pressures. It could be pressure by the society, in the sense that the society in which you are living, they do not allow so. You belong to different religion. You belong to different caste. Your family is very conservative. It's not that modern. You love each other, but they do not understand your love, and they will not allow you to get married. So that's the easiest way that you want to live together and you are living like husband and wife. So what else do you want? Then people are coming to bigger cities, maybe for job purposes or something like that, and here the cost of living is very high, as a result of which two people start living together in order to bear the expenses and share the expenses. So this could also be the reason. These days, people are getting married late. Maybe that their marriage age has gone, and as a result of it, they start living together with another person. So they don't feel like getting married at that particular age. These people feel that it brings in them the sense of responsibility. Another factor could be that they are monetarily independent. They are not dependent on anyone. So there is no need to obey to our elders, because obviously in the case of live-in relationship, the elders will not like that two persons of opposite sex, they are living together and they are living together as husband and wife without undergoing the ceremonies of marriage. Then these could be the factors why this is increasing, and there are arguments in favor, there are arguments against this thing. As far as live-in relationship is concerned, the protection that a woman gets, because I told you that it's Domestic Violence Act 2005, you can get maintenance orders in your favor, you can go to the court, because section 2F of the Domestic Violence Act, it also talks about in the nature of marriage. In Pachaimal case, it was laid down that there should be certain, now the courts have started recognizing these kind of relationships, and it's stated that as far as these relationships are concerned, certain ingredients need to be satisfied. It could be in the sense that you are holding as akin to the spouses in front of the society, you are otherwise eligible to get married, you are otherwise complying with the legal formalities to enter into a wedlock, you are unmarried, and you are living together for substantial number of years. Now, what are these substantial number of years? That has not been defined by the court, but it should be number of years, because they feel that it is not a walk-in and walk-out relationship. It's not that it's a one-night stand-out. It's not nothing like that. You need to stay together for number of years, substantial number of years, in order to take protection under this act, so that it could come under nature of marriage. So that means these formalities should be complied with in order that you are given protection for under this particular act. There was one case also where the woman was living with a man. He was a married man and he had 2 children, and when the case went before the court laid down that this is not the case of nature of marriage. So no protection would be given to this live-in woman, because if we will be giving protection to this live-in woman, we are doing injustice to the legally wedded wife of this person. So that was what was the decision of the court. But nonetheless, these cases are in vogue, they are increasing, but there is no specific legislation. The need of the hour is that specific legislation should be there in order to protect this live-in couple, because as we change, as the society progress, law also needs to be modified. It also needs, you need to keep pace with we say that we need to keep pace with the society. So you also need to change. When there are these cases have started coming up, so there should be a specific, clear, explicit law in order to address all issues relating to live-in relationship. Though now the court have stated that the children who are born out of this relationship, they are legitimate. So legitimacy status have also been granted to them, but a clear-cut law is going to stop all kinds of bafflement, all kinds of bemusement, all kinds of confusion. Till that, mystification will be there, and the need of the hour is that the Parliament should now come up with a specific legislation which addresses a live-in relationship in India. Next is another topic which is very much, it's a burning topic, a contentious and a debatable topic, that is Uniform Civil Code. Recently only we had seen that in Uttarakhand a bill had been passed. It's considered to be the first state where a bill had been passed. Now the President's assent is required to make it a Uniform Civil Code. The question is, what is a Uniform Civil Code? In India, we do have uniform criminal law. We have Indian Penal Code for all the people, irrespective of the religion in India. It's the Indian Penal Code which is applicable. But when we talk, so that means we have uniform criminal law. But when we talk about the civil laws, then we do not have uniform civil laws. We have different communities, different religious communities staying in India. We have Hindus, we have Muslims, we have Christians. Now they have their own laws. They are all different civil laws. And as a result of which, the different laws are there in all this religious group. So Uniform Civil Code basically is when you have one uniform code, one uniform civil code for all the people, irrespective of the religion to what you belong to. It is very much in debate these days, very much a contention. There have been it's a debatable issue, and lot of debates have been going on whether it should be there, it should not be there, because there are lots of ifs and buts when you talk about the Uniform Civil Code. Because when I say that there are different religious communities, again in this also, there are people who are for this thing and there are people who are against this thing. People say that if you bring in Uniform Civil Code, it is going to, whatever confusions, whatever atrocities that are being committed in different personal laws, that would come to an end. Because then there will be one rule for everyone, whether he is a Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Parsi or so on. So that means if you are going to bring one rule that is really going to sort out so many issues, and whatever atrocities are committed on every person, that will come to an end, because we have Goa as a living example in India. Goa, there is a uniform civil code there, Goa civil code, where so many issues, the people like I'll just take examples there. A Muslim who is registered in Goa and they are not allowed to go for polygamy. A triple talaq obviously now has been made unconstitutional, so they are not allowed to go for polygamy. It's prohibited there. They are registered there. Then all marriages, births and death needs to be registered there if you are in Goa. Then apart from this, as far as the property rights are concerned, it should be half of, you need to give it equally as far as men and women are concerned. There is one thing that is, although monogamy is there, but one thing that is there in Goa is that in case of Hindus, if a woman is unable to conceive a child by 21 years of age, or she is unable to deliver a male child by 30 years of age, the person can go for another marriage. We have monogamy generally, but in Goa this is allowed. So you need to get your, these things are there, and it's a very good living example there. Uttarakhand also recently a bill has been passed. Now when it receives the assent of the president, it will become an act. Although now there also registration is required. The polygamy and everything has gone away there. And after registration, you need to register your marriage, you need to register the divorce also there. It's not only registration of marriage, but registration of divorce is also there in Uttarakhand Civil Code. It doesn't talk about the tribals. They have been kept out of this thing because tribal have their own customs, their own culture, so on and so forth. And then it is not, people do say that it's also not talking about the third gender, the transgenders. So it's silent on that thing. But one thing which is not being liked is that it says that in cases of live-in couples, although now in Uttarakhand things relating to marriage, divorce, property rights, succession is uniform, but when you talk about live-in couple in Uttarakhand, the rule is that they need to get themselves registered within a period of 1 month when they start living together. Now this is not which is being liked by some people, and they say that that's one concept that they are hiding. They are living in live-in relationship and you are getting them to register that thing, so that is not being liked. So why they should get registered? So this is not a thing that is being liked. So in any case, whenever a thing comes, there are plus and negative, but Uniform Civil Code, a lot of debate has been there, and people say that like we have Uniform Criminal Code, Civil Code should also be there, but it's not that easy cakewalk. There are a lot of issues. If at all you have to codify that thing, there are number of religions, that are number of customs they are there. It's a gargantuan task to codify this thing. Then you will have to call number of stakeholders, you will have to call legal experts, you will have to call the religious people who are in religion, who knows about their religion. So all these things, and there has to be compatibility on each and every issue. Though it is going to solve number of problems, gender injustice, whether it is in Hindu law, whether it is in Muslim law, whether in Christian law. So that's going to be very good, because then for all women, irrespective of the religion, you will have one uniform civil code. So it has its plus and minus. Till the time it's a debatable issue only. Uttarakhand is becoming the first state to get it passed from the president, and then it is going to become an act. Let's see what happens further. It's an debatable issue. So nothing right now can be said, though there are many challenges, many difficulties are there in the way. But nonetheless, for the women, I think it's going to be a very good this thing, because then every woman, whether she is a Hindu, Muslim, Christian, you will be having uniform civil this thing, and you will have one law for marriage, you will have one law for divorce, one law for property and inheritance rights. So that's the thing. The last thing that I would be covered is the Family Court Act. Again, we all know what is a family court. It has been there's an act that has been passed in the year 1984, and it basically talks about issues that the law says that all those places where the population is more than 1 million, the family court should be there. There should be judges. One should be the principal judge, another should be additional principal judge. Their powers are same. It's co-extensive. Then the status of family court is lower than high court, but it is bigger than district court. Then the judges would retire at the age of 62 years. The proceedings that would be taken place, that would be in camera. Then any person who has held a service of 7 years as a judicial member, or 7 years as a member of a tribunal, or a 7 years an advocate. These are the persons who are eligible. And it also states that being family matters, women are in a more position because it is not exactly the courts are. You need to follow a less technical procedure there, not the same that is being followed in the normal courts. So it's not that you have to follow those technicalities which are there in the normal courts. So women, I mean people who are there's a suggestions also and submissions also of so many people that people who are well versed in area of psychology, sociology, family law, and these should also come forward and be a part of family courts. Then it's going to handle cases like maintenance, guardianship, property, then suits for injunctions. These are certain cases which are dealt by family courts. And then it says that the main purpose of the family court is that they need to provide conciliation. So it says that the conciliation thing is a 3-tier process. First is the this conciliation, then conciliation and post conciliation. In pre, they say that the parties should come before they get married, so counseling is there. And during conciliation, it says that when they come to the court, when the case is going on, then the aim of the court is to settle the disputes, to reconcile the parties, and if they are unable to reconcile, then you need to settle the matter amicably between them. And the third one is the post one, that they need to come after divorce. So these are certain issues that are being dealt by family courts, but if you see the reality, I think we have till date 715 or more so family courts as far as India is concerned. The number is very less. The judges are also low. We do not have that one. There are certain flaws, that are there, and the judges are also low. I mean, the number is low. Then there are a lot of pendency of cases even in this. Lack of infrastructure is there. Then they have problem that why only these matters are coming in this only. Then socio-cultural factors also play a very pivotal role. You have a male dominating society, you have issues relating to dowry. So these things are there which are dealt so these are the things which are creating trouble as far as this thing is there. And then though it has stated that more women should be there, but scenario is not this thing. There are less women as far as these family courts are concerned. So I have dealt with certain important these things in my today's lecture. There were certain 5 or 6 things that I have dealt with. The thing is that these are all emerging. We usually do not study it. They are the issues which are very, emerging issues also, and some are even going on. So, but I have dealt with these things because these are emerging issues. These are coming up issues. So one should be aware on these issues. So that was my main purpose, that why I have taken this lecture on these issues. And thank you so much for hearing. Thank you so much for being with me in all these lectures. And I will put an end to my lecture. Thank you so much.
Many a times we all think, who am I? Why am I doing whatever I am doing? Why do I feel attracted towards others? Why do I feel very aggressive in certain instances? Why certain people or certain type of acts, they repel me? Why is it that I always search for certain things which look very, very ambiguous? These are the things, these are the questions that all of us experience, all human beings. And you would realize that many a times certain domains of knowledge, especially within social sciences and all sciences at large, when you look at it from a philosophical point of view, they would try to give you the answers to these questions. Now, one of the branches of understanding which helps you understand things much better, which also helps you understand not only what is visibly present before you, what is glaringly apparent to you, rather which also tells you what is not visible at all, what goes within. Okay. And this is the subject knowledge, what is called as psychology. It is not only that it helps you understand the manifested behavior, the overt behavior, how you talk, how you speak, how you say it, how you interact, how you respond. Not only that, but also what goes within, what makes you do this, what makes you think this way, what makes you act that way. Why is it that certain things you appreciate, certain things you feel attracted towards, and why is it that many a times in certain type of situations you feel you should completely go out of it, you should not get anyway involved into it, the repulsion. Why is it that certain acts, although you do not appreciate, still you get involved into it? Then you reinterpret your own behavior and you start giving birth to certain type of experiences, shame, guilt, pleasure, appreciation. You see world in a particular way, you analyze it in a particular way, you derive emotion out of it, feeling out of it, and the mix of what you perceived along with what you experience, it makes you act in a particular way, respond in a particular way. Your response is received by somebody else, and then the other person also responds in that situation. Now, there are situations where several people interact simultaneously. The situation remains constant and different people interact at the same time. You realize that your identity gets lost. You are not an individual. You act what is called as group behavior. You realize that you do not have an explanation for either favoring somebody or completely being unfavorable to the other person. You later on realize that it was a favorable or an unfavorable attitude towards that individual. You realize that you repeat certain form of behavior. Why? You do not know. People tell you that such type of repetitions are not normal. Human beings largely do not do that. And then you realize that okay, this is a particular pattern of a behavior for which I require the help of a specialist. The specialist tells me that this pattern of behavior is given a particular taxonomy, a particular nomenclature, which is either some aberration in the normal behavior, it is a neurotic form of a behavior, psychotic form of a behavior, it could be a psychosomatic response. And psychology, it covers all of this. So, if you want to understand yourself, if you want to understand others, this is the subject which helps you achieve that target. It is behavioral sciences that makes you understand human beings, human responses, human existence in complete totality.